Being outside is good for us. It's that simple. And trails make it easy for us to walk, bike, and be active outside in our own backyards. On the trail, we see people moving, connecting with their communities, making the places where they live great. For 40 years, Rails to Trails Conservancy has led the way, creating trails across the country, making it safer and easier for everyone to get outside. They want you to get involved. Find your trail and start your journey today at railstotrails.org/iHeart and follow at Rails to Trails on social.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Irish NFL Show on the Believe Network, brought to you in association with QuinBet. Well, if you watched the World Cup final at New York, New Jersey Stadium last night, you probably thought, like us, that it would be hard for either the New York Jets or the New York Giants, the regular tenants there, to put on a more excruciating display of football than Argentina managed. And we don't have long to find out now as we approach August and pre-season play in just a couple of weeks' time. And with that in mind, we come to the penultimate divisional review of the off-season. We've completed 6 other divisions. That's 24 teams. Check those out wherever you get your podcasts, on our YouTube channel or on our website, irishnflshow.com. We will get to the NFC South next week, so we saved the worst for last. But tonight, it is the turn of the AFC South. Brian O'Leary, Kieran Boyle and Craig Rigdon here with me, Conor Brophy. Craig, the Tennessee Titans snagged the number 1 overall pick in last year's draft, the highly rated Cam Ward. They waited just 4 games into the season before they sacked Brian Callahan, the previously very highly touted offensive mind who was supposed to take Cam Ward and turn him into the future of the franchise. That didn't happen, and they didn't wait too long to find out. They now have another offensive guru in the building in the shape of Brian Daboll, who will be reporting to Robert Saleh. Both of those on the comeback trail.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it, for Brian Callahan? 1-5 was his start, 14-19 across 2 seasons. Not great. And then obviously Mike McCoy comes in and they just limp through the season, finishing 3-14. It wasn't great at all from a Titans point of view, but I just want to focus on Cam Ward. And I was doing some research on him earlier, and I saw that he set a franchise rookie record of 3,169 passing yards. He had a 1.3% interception rate, which is the best single season mark in franchise history. And then you get into the actual advanced analytics, and it's absolutely brutal. He had a bottom 3 PFF grade, 33rd of 38 qualifying quarterbacks in yards. EPA, CPOE, just awful. He had just the worst receiving core to go with him as well. Calvin Ridley had an injury after 7 games that pretty much wiped him out and left 2 rookies in Alec and Aomanor and Chimikri Dyke as his 2 top receivers, and it just went downhill from there. Now what they've done is they've gone for Brian Daboll, somebody who Brian and Kieran know very well as the ex-head coach of the New York Giants. And he has now the assignment to try and turn it round. He has a track record with young quarterbacks. Jackson Dart looked good. You look at what he did with Josh Allen before that at the Bills. So there's obviously some pedigree there. It's just they need to see what they can do with Cam Ward. Now, the only good thing for Cam is that it probably can't go backwards. That's how bad it was for him.
Daboll is something of an enigma as well, isn't he? I mean, you can't necessarily point to, this is his scheme, or this is what he brings, or this is what he plug and plays. For good or for ill, he tends to work with what's around him. And sometimes, to your point, that has worked very well, and other times it just hasn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, you only have to look at what happened with Daniel Jones. He needs the right quarterback with the right attributes to what he can do. Josh Allen was a scrambling type, heavy passer, mixed role quarterback who could make, something out of nothing. Daniel Jones had parts of that, but on a Timu level, shall we call it, compared to what Josh Allen will give you. Jackson Dart had it obviously on a rookie level, and now he's coming in to work with Cam Ward, who's going into year 2. So
the thing that made Brian Daboll's name, though, to be fair, is that Josh Allen very definitely did not have that in year 1 when he arrived in the NFL. He was awful.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that you can also say with Josh Allen, just to kind of compare it to whether Brian Daboll is the answer or not, is that Josh Allen has statistically actually had better seasons since Brian Daboll has gone. Brian Daboll just put him on the trajectory to do it. So how much of it was Josh Allen's raw talent and how much of it was Brian Daboll's coaching? And that's what we're going to go for. You know, he has everything that he likes in a quarterback, Cam Ward. You know, his big arm, creative instincts, but it's the poor early efficiency, which is a similar point to Daniel Jones, that he's got to overcome. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Brian Daboll does with this quarterback. But if it clicks with the new weapons, where he's got Carnell Tate, who they picked up in the draft, and then Wan'Dale Robinson, again, somebody who Brian Daboll knows very, very well from his time at the Giants, whether those two can be enough to unlock Cam Ward and go forward is to be seen, I guess.
And to your point, I mean, just about everything went wrong with the receiving core as well as everything else that Cam Ward had around him last year. I mean, not only were guys getting injured, but when they were fit, he had the 4th highest drop rate among wide receivers as well. There's one thing Wan'Dale Robinson can do, it's catch the ball. What he does after he catches it doesn't tend to be particularly spectacular, but he will at least get hands on leather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian, the defense gets a bit of an upgrade in the form of Robert Saleh if we're talking coaching here. I think what's interesting on both sides of the ball is that the two most high-profile coaching incomers, Saleh and Daboll, have brought a lot of the bits and pieces with them from their previous jobs. Brian Daboll, as we spoke about, brought Wan'Dale Robinson and some other bits and pieces from New York with him. Robert Saleh has brought some bits and pieces from the 49ers and from his previous stint at the Jets. I wouldn't have thought an influx of talent, quote unquote, from the Jets was necessarily what the Titans need, but that's what they've got.
Yeah, certainly an influx of players across the board from various teams, as you touched on, former teams, and even other aspects of the league that they've gone after players, in particular the secondary, like Cardell Flott, who, again, seems like a very New York heavy type of podcast as well. Like, we have experience in watching him play for the Giants as Jets fans that will look at other players that are coming defensively. Big contract, but not sure he's worthy of the level of playing content, what we've seen over the course of the last few years. 345 yards on average they gave away last season per game. They were 28 in terms of points allowed. Their secondary was hosed game after game. So as much as we, I guess, lauded up about how reasonably impressive Cam Ward was in this year, when he was kind of, as you said, he was on a shot to nothing, really, Connor.
A shitty schedule, though, as well. They had the second hardest schedule of all teams last year, which is not what you wanted for your rookie quarterback. They did not get the luck of the draw there either.
No. They start with the Jets, ironically enough, for Robert Saleh's last team. He's brought in Gus Bradley, defensive coordinator, who's been with the Colts, so he's been in the division. But it's unusual. Like, Gus Bradley is one of these who's come in and he always feels the need to make sure he's going to be the defensive play caller. That's not the case this time around. Robert Saleh is going to take over the reins on defense. I'm very mixed on what we're going to see from this team, both offensively and defensively, because even I have to say something about Daboll, because you went down that road and it wasn't really for me, but Daboll was waxing lyrical about Cam Ward in the coverage you saw around the draft, and he was waxing lyrical with a big grin on his face in the draft room on the night, because obviously now in hindsight it was obvious he was going to get a wide receiver. That offense, what Daboll tends to run, doesn't necessarily always have many running backs. So is it going to be a very offense-led, as in passing game, and that might fit Daboll, but Daboll's not the one ultimately who's going to have his arse on the line, really, is it, Connor? Because Robert Saleh, who had a difficult time with Aaron Rodgers, was quickly removed of his role as head coach of the Jets. He's ultimately the one who's going to have to be the decision maker. He's going to be leaning heavily, I guess, to come in and manage the defense, I would have thought, and leave Daboll to get on with the offense. And that's why at the time when the wide receiver was selected, it was a bit of a surprise. Saleh's so defensive-led heavy that we all thought he was going to go with a safety in the first round. It wasn't to be. I'd be interested to see what Kieran's thoughts are, because I think this team are going to really struggle this year. Even you say I wouldn't say it's a softer schedule. There's winnable games early on, but I'm still not convinced they're going to be challenging in the division or just kind of spoil their team. I think they're going to struggle again this year. Yeah,
they need a lot of things to go right for them, it looks like, Kieran, if we're going to see a noticeable improvement. They need the solid defensive upgrades to help a really beleaguered unit instantly. They need the best of Brian Daboll instantly. They need that big year 2 leap for Cam Ward. And it's hard, even as the lads have been saying, to know how good Cam Ward was last year. We did see flashes, like it wasn't all terrible, but a lot of off-target throws. He had that thing that affects a lot of rookies, where he had the 4th longest time to throw of any starting quarterback in the NFL last year, which has that concerning aspect. And yeah, it is common to rookies, and you want him to get out of it quickly, though, where he's waiting too long. He's waiting for players to get college open rather than NFL open.
Yeah. I'd agree with a lot of that. Kind of to go away from what Brian was saying, I'm actually pretty high on this Titans team. I mean, it's not a surprise that I'm a huge Cam Ward fan going back to his Miami days. And I think, it's no secret he was shortchanged by Mike Borgonzi, the GM last year. When you have a wide receiver room of Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson, I mean, that's a rough way to start a season for a rookie quarterback.
It's rough for a Wookiee as well.
So, he was kind of behind the eight ball to start with. And, as a rookie quarterback, you're trying to impress. You're trying to make the top 10 on SportsCenter. You're trying to make those flash plays to get your name out there like Daniels did in 24. But the deficiencies in the roster just came to the fore right at the start. I mean, you said the 1-5 start led to the end of Callahan. And after then, it was just damage limitation. They try the best just to keep the train in the tracks as much as possible and not embarrass themselves on a weekly basis. Ward did okay, for the rest of the season. Again, you mentioned the drops and the wide receiver room of twos and threes that he had to throw with, and not a great running game either with Tony Pollard back there. I mean, that was tough too, and the injuries, all of that. I will give Borgonzi credit. I mean, it's really. He's really saving his own butt because, if he doesn't make changes or make some big moves in the offseason, he'd be following Callahan a year later. So I like the moves they made. I like the pickups. Obviously, the Giants connection. We'll put Daniel Bellinger in there. Not necessarily a pass catching tight end, more of a big beefy blocker. But I mean, that could be your sixth guy on the line. Bringing in Jermaine Johnson, Franklin Myers as well, Solomon Thomas, and as well Cordell Flott. So they've addressed the issues they had. And that's not even getting to the wide receiver room with the draft pick of Carnell Tate. So it's a vastly improved roster across the board. The O-line was solid last year. Like I said, they gave him enough time, but with a combination of trying to throw the perfect pass and trying to get the best out of a limited wide receiver room, it was always going to be difficult for him. But I do like what they've done. I like the defense. Question marks obviously about the linebackers and the secondary. Bringing back Amani Hooker, Alontae Taylor they picked up. That's a nice addition. But you got to think Saleh sprinkling his kind of expertise on that defense should help them out a lot. 3 wins last year. I'd back him to double that total this year. I think they've got another year of Ward under his belt. I mean, we always talk about, when we talked earlier about Josh Allen, how horrendous his first year was. Don't forget Peyton Manning, his first year, he was throwing picks for fun out there. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he can vastly improve. He still did have 3,169 yards last year through the air. So he's not a running quarterback. He's going to get his bread and butter through the air. But I think the fact that he's got a vastly improved wide receiver room and personnel all around the place, whether it be Dable and Saleh, Bradley, and even people like Franklin Myers, it just looks better on paper. And the big challenge now for the Titans is to get on the field as well.
Inspired by Craig's example, I looked at some of the advanced analytics on the Titans last year, and I looked at the DVOA list that FTN had compared the worst top 5 rookie quarterback picks from the last 15 years. So they listed the top 10 who were picked between 1 and 5 in the draft by DVOA. And of those 10, Ward was one of the worst, but there's reasons to be hopeful, to your point, Kieran. I will get to the positive thing here, because of the others that finished on that list, on that 10 list, 2 were Drake May and Sam Darnold, who were the quarterbacks who contested last year's Super Bowl. And one of the other 10 was Jared Goff. Granted, there are some Blake Bortles in there, I'm not going to lie to you. So there are reasons to be cheerful, and let's hope that Cam Ward can show the kind of form that we saw in college and that made him so exciting and got him that number 1 overall pick, because there's no doubt the talent is there, just needs to be unlocked.
Being outside is good for us. It's that simple. And trails make it easy for us to walk, bike, and be active outside in our own backyards. On the trail, we see people moving, connecting with their communities, making the places where they live great. For 40 years, Rails to Trails Conservancy has led the way, creating trails across the country, making it safer and easier for everyone to get outside. They want you to get involved. Find your trail and start your journey today at railstotrails.org/iHeart and follow at Rails to Trails on social.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.